A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, it is a period of gunslinging and land-snatching, where the powerful and corrupt prey upon the vulnerable. A cry goes up for a man with guts to take the West in hand, a man who is brave and true, with justice for all as his aim. Then out of the sun rides a man with a gun, and Bart is his name. Blazing Saddles contains depictions of racism, including paired than not. There's also some jokes surrounding lynching, sexual assault, and some queer-related humor that hasn't aged very well, so please proceed according to your needs and comfort level. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The views expressed therein are solely those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of their employers. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, come on into 6 Degrees of Star Wars. This is a podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us and binds us and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm your host, Sam Marchioni, and let's face it, I'm exhausted. And joining me today is Frankly Johnson.
I'm but pawn in the great game of life. But I'm hoping if I can get to the other side of the board, I can become like a rook or a bishop. I think that'd be cool.
Leif Bradshaw Johnson.
Head them off at the pass? I hate that cliche!
Grady Smithy Johnson.
My name here.
Schmuck. And Jasmine Garcia Johnson.
Cleveland Little, you will always be famous in my heart.
Okay, I'm gonna drop the Madeline Kahn doing Marlena Dietrich. We're talking Blazing Saddles, everybody! Woo-hoo!
Yeehaw, even!
Hurrah.
Harumph. We have here a degree 4 by virtue of Harvey Korman, who made a rather ignominious appearance in the Star Wars Holiday Special, but fuck it, it counts, and thank God, I love this movie. I love his performance as Hedy Lamarr. That's Hedley. Don't worry, you'll be able to sue her. We're just gonna be recapping jokes from this movie, folks. I guarantee it.
Yeah, probably.
Just a little.
A lot of Mel Brooks's humor has endured for quite some time, so yeah.
I believe it was Ebert who said that when it comes to Mel Brooks, he loads his comedy gun, and he'll fire it like 1,000 times. Even if half of those miss, still a fucking good movie.
I can agree to that. I'm actually one of the people who will defend Dracula Dead and loving it. I'll see you on each retelling to talk about that sometime, Jazz.
Congratulations, you just landed yourself priority guest.
Thank you. And we actually have, this is in the same vein as the Star Wars original trilogy, an occasion where we have someone who was there from the very beginning. Everybody say hi to our token old. Hi, Grady.
I was there. It was a long damn time ago.
Care to share?
You have probably the best input on the whole, they couldn't make Blazing Saddles today because you were there when they made Blazing Saddles originally.
Right, and if they tried to make it today, somebody would look at it and say, didn't Mel Brooks already do this one?
This is plagiarism.
Exactly. Never mind the fact that people have since proved that you in fact can make a movie like this today, because the joke isn't, haha, people constantly saying racial slurs all the time. It's, man, aren't people who are racist idiots?
You know, morons.
Although now I think that's more of a scary thing. Like, I'd argue Jordan Peele is in part a successor to Blazing Saddles.
Oh my goodness, yeah, no, Get Out remains to this day one of the spookiest movies I've ever seen.
We'll talk about that some other time, though. God, Blazing Saddles is such a wild experience, and I actually ended up, when I announced this as our next film, we ran a day in the server where I played it twice, because we had a ton of people who hadn't seen it. And I think that the whole thing about you couldn't make Blazing Saddles today because everybody's too PC is part of what turns people off of it and then makes them not want to watch it because they think, it's going to be offensive. And yet, pretty much everybody who watched it in the server for the first time was like, oh my god, this is hilarious.
Yeah, there's a concept that is closely related to punching down versus punching up. That's laughing with versus laughing at. That plays into what direction something is punching, but it says who you are laughing at and who you are laughing with is what really determines which direction the comedy is going. And in this one, we're always laughing with Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder at all of the idiots that they're having to deal with.
You know, Morons.
Exactly. Every time a character does casually utter racial slurs at him, they are the punchline. Every time.
Because they're, again, morons. But yeah, and Sheriff Bart, he's basically just Bugs Bunny, which is something that I can't remember who was the first one to say it during the movie watch party, but I was like, oh my god, yeah, he's just Bugs Bunny, right down to them using the music.
That's right. Candygram for Mongo! Candygram for Mongo!
Honestly, I think the first Bugs Bunny thing he does is I get a kick out of you.
That was pretty good.
That's Bugs' behavior right there.
Also, goddamn, such a good voice.
Oh,
right?
Really?
Beautiful singing voice. Why didn't he have more of a singing career?
He won a Tony. I don't think it was for a musical, but goddamn.
In any better world, a man this charming, this talented, and this handsome would have been a household name. Wonder why that didn't end up being the case.
Don't know. The answer is right on the tip of our tongue.
But, he gets top billing in this movie ahead of Gene Wilder, who is arguably the biggest movie star in this thing, because Cleavon Little's our main character. Bart is our main character. We are following his story throughout this whole thing.
I have to go back and double check, but I'm 90% sure that Gene Wilder was actually a last-minute replacement.
Really?
Yep. Originally, Gig Young was cast, but he collapsed during his first scene from what was later determined to be alcohol withdrawal syndrome.
Oh, no.
And Wilder had to be flown in to replace him after turning down the role of Hedley Lamar.
Method acting, everybody.
Fascinating. Oh.
Oh, dear.
I guess so.
The role of Jim the Waco Kid was also offered to John Wayne, who turned it down for being too blue, and all I can say is, thank God, because John Wayne was a racist son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was. I wouldn't have wanted this. I can't imagine anyone but Gene in this role.
Yeah. Which is interesting because it's a very restrained performance from Gene Wilder, considering his reputation.
Oh, God!
Oh no, what happened?
Here's another reason to be glad Gig Young did not end up playing this role, because, in 1978, he murdered his wife 3 weeks after their wedding, and then himself. So, thank fuck he's not in this movie. I'm sorry, everybody.
That's depressing as hell. I am very glad he's not in here now.
Yeah, damn. Here I thought we were going to find out about some kind of color face, but no, this is worse.
No, instead we get something a lot more delightful, like, for instance, as Bart arrives in town as sheriff, he is heralded by Count Basie and his orchestra. Quite literally, Count Basie and his orchestra somehow exist in the late 19th century and are there to play him some hype music as he rides off towards the town of Rockridge.
That's how charming and powerful he is, Leaf.
They were probably filming something in the next soundstage over.
Yeah, and when Mel Brooks asks you to do something, you're like, okay.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely plenty of interesting choices that were made to get this plot in motion. I mean, that's what's kind of amusing about Blazing Saddles is that as someone who has seen a few classic Westerns, this movie really does do a great job paying tribute to classic Westerns. On paper, in a lot of ways, this feels like a classic Western, just one that mercilessly rips apart its own tropes and points out the absurdities of some of them if you actually try to be a bit more realistic about them, while simultaneously being a live-action cartoon.
That was really one of Brooks's strengths. He would always it's no, we're gonna play this exactly how a regular movie in this genre would play. We're just gonna be making fun of it throughout the whole thing.
The overarching plot of the movie is functionally something like Hang 'em High, where it's this, person done wrong, but they need they need a strong man to set the town right, and they in this case the town is saved, quote unquote. But there are a lot of Westerns that follow the basic plot line of mysterious stranger comes in to save the town, if not necessarily always being literally the sheriff.
Yeah, in this case, you have Bart, who is originally about to be condemned for daring to stand up for himself in prison labor, and then Hedley Lamar, played by Harvey Korman, realizes, wait, what if I take advantage of the fact that this small town we need to build a railway through are probably also super racist? If I hire a black guy to be their sheriff, they will surely leave and let me demolish their town to make way for the railroad. And that's how we end up with that plot point. And yet he ends up, of course, originally getting hostile treatment as expected, but manages to use his wits very effectively to become someone that they feel like they need.
And then they completely and utterly failed to give him credit for the candygram.
Yep. They just ask for just a quick little apology. I remember that one lady gives him, what was it, an apology pie or something? And is like, oh, don't mention this to anybody, by the way.
Have you ever seen such cruelty? Yeah, lady, from you in about 15 minutes.
Right?
No, just having the population of the city condemn living there so that they'll go away and you can snatch up the land at a fraction of the price. I guess you could call it imminent lepetomane.
Ooh.
I mean, it's not a bad one. It's just, here's the thing. Lepetomane is a different pun, which actually was true in... I got a set of subtitles for the movie as I was playing it for everybody that was incredibly detailed. Lepetomane is actually referring to a 19th century French performer, Joseph Pujoy, who was a professional flatulist named Lepetomane, the fartiste.
Yeah.
So that's what inspired that scene where we get a more realistic depiction of living off of pork and beans would be like for someone's guts.
God.
Also, I'm sure if every 12-year-old boy knew that there was a time when you could be paid to fart, they'd be like, I was born in the wrong generation.
Wait till they find out about Mozart's bullshit.
I was, and I did.
Speaking of the fart scene, which is just, there's a whole list, and the subtitles that I picked out gives names to every single one of them. So, audience, for your listening pleasure, I'm gonna read them off. Everybody can say what their favorite is. We have, in order, the Jersey Torch fart, the Quiver fart, the Mousy Squeak fart, the Gambled and Lost fart, the Alarm fart, the Bullet fart, the Rusty Gate fart, the Scented Scream, the Dropped Ripe Watermelon fart, the Splatter fart, the Double... the Double Flutter Blast, the Chinese Firecracker, the Rip Snorter, the Echo Fart, and the Mud Slapper fart.
Wasn't that a rip snorter of a good time?
Very creative. Everybody's so creative.
I don't know if we have any sound engineers or mixers are out there, but please tell me all of those are real.
Double Flutter Blast is the worst pony.
God damn it, Grady!
I mean, I've never heard a term like the Scented Screamer used as a euphemism, but you know what? Maybe I should use that from now on.
Maybe.
I mean, I just appreciate how they managed to work in Mr. Atom Bomb Ryder from Dr. Strangelove to be our dopey foreman here with these characters. And he does get some pretty amazing punchlines, in my opinion. Even just something as wonderfully childishly dumb as, and tell him that I said, ow! Tell him I said, ow. Gotcha.
Okay, so we're talking about Burton Gilliam as Lyle, not Slim Pickens as Taggart.
I'm talking about both of them, honestly.
Okay, I've never seen Dr. Strangelove, so I wasn't quite sure which one of them you were referring to. Yes, I know.
Taggart.
Slim Pickens was the one who rode the bomb in Dr. Strangelove at the end.
And allegedly also inspired John DiMaggio's Bender voice. Like, he'll often talk about how that was one of the influences. He'll use his opening line from this movie as reference. What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on?
The first of many anachronisms. You could probably chart them out, but at the point where the set breaks down and they go into a different movie, I think the exercise is pointless.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they name drop Randolph Scott as if he's some sort of messiah. That was fantastic.
Randolph Scott! He was like one of the biggest Western stars of the time.
He was. And he, with Cary Grant, were very close. They were roommates.
Oh my god, they were roommates.
You know who else is roommates?
Bart and Jim?
I did not realize how boyfriend coded they were until this time around.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. And when I said that in another server, one of the mods of it, in good jest, was like, Mom, can you come pick me up? They're Yowie shipping Blazing Saddles. Thank you, Dalton. You're a delight.
Hey, it's not our fault that we're noticing that these two have such a delightful chemistry.
No, I mean, just that whole exchange where he's just like, well, what did you expect? And he's just trying to comfort him. And famously, that the, morons bit was improvised, so little smile was real. That always warms my little biracial heart.
Oh, it's so good.
They ride off into the sunset together.
They drove off into the sunset together in a car. They got off their horses and got into a car and drove off into the sunset. How romantic.
Yeah, no, like, the whole exchange at the end is like, oh my god, yeah, no, this is very romantic, actually. If either one of them was a girl, no one would question it.
Right? Just the whole thing of, where are you going? Nowhere special. Nowhere special. I always wanted to go there. With the sentimental harmonica playing as well, because Western. Mm-hmm. So good.
Love, twoo, love.
We'll follow you forever.
No, wrong speech impediment. But God, Madeline Kahn.
I had to make the joke.
Madeline Kahn, God. She's so good in this. She won and... Oh, no, she didn't win. I'm just living in denial and saying that she did win. I'm sorry to Ingrid Bergman on Murder of the Orient Express, but come on. Madeline Kahn in this movie. She's so freaking good. And we did very much have people going, holy shit, legs, when we were watching it, which leads into a story. This was, like, I believe the first time she collaborated with Brooks, and during her audition, he asked to see her legs, and she was like, oh, so it's that kind of audition. He says, I explained that I was happily married, but I needed someone who could straddle a chair with her legs like Marlena Dietrich in Destry Rides Again, so she lifted up her skirt and said, no touching.
Perfect.
And that was the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
It does make me very sad that she had to be like, oh, it's that kind of audition. Like, Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Unfortunately, very easy to picture. But yeah, thankfully she did an amazing job with what she was given, and I appreciate how she is written in a way where she does have a lot of power of her own that she will happily utilize. I mean, the whole setup of we're introduced to the character under the presumption that, oh, she can seduce Bart, and it ends up being Bart seducing her.
It's twoo.
It's very proto-Undercover Brother.
So whom amongst us doesn't know this deleted punchline? I'm curious, because...
I think Sam told all of us.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I told everybody, but for the uninitiated... Actually, Leaf, do you know it word for word? Because I get it wrong sometimes.
I don't really know if word for word I have it right, but I do remember it was something to the effect of, so during when she says, oh, it's twoo, and Bart in response said, honey, that's my elbow.
Gather what you will, dear listeners.
That was, like, the one joke too far, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently, but there's a part of me that couldn't help but think that is so Mel Brooksian, though, to throw that in there. That's my elbow.
Honestly, I'm not even sure if that was Mel Brooks. It might have been Richard Pryor.
It could have been, because, yeah, Richard Pryor is one of the credited writers on this movie.
Which honestly makes it all better, if you ask me.
This is the rare Mel Brooks thing that isn't, like, fully his baby.
And Pryor was originally supposed to be playing Bart, but nobody would insure him because this was deep in the depths of the cocaine years.
Yeah. And actually, like, even before it became a Western, at one point it was going to be like a Malcolm X kind of parody called Tex X. And I shit you not, James Earl Jones was slated to be the lead.
Oh! I am kind of sad we never got that.
That title was rejected because they were like, people are going to think it's that kind of movie.
Yep, and Mel Brooks bought this script from the original writer, Andrew Bergman, and hired a team because he's like, this is one I cannot do myself. So even Mel Brooks understands the importance of sensitivity readers and representation. He just doesn't do it for everything. God damn it, Mel.
He
Yeah.
doesn't, but he's way better at it than most of his contemporaries, and that honestly is worth a lot.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that plays a part into why a lot of his comedies haven't aged as badly as many others from around the same time. Because, I mean, as is so frequently pointed out, comedy is one of those genres of entertainment that is the most likely to age badly really quickly. And a big part of it is just the whole thing about who are we laughing at and or laughing with. And, of course, the nature of the acceptability on those standards changes all the time, depending on where society ends up going. So it's honestly remarkable when you find examples of stuff like that, that while it will definitely have some signifiers of anything problematic at the time period, it still really holds up all the same. Like, that is incredibly impressive, because I can think of quite a few comedies from this decade that have not aged particularly well, and I'm just impressed that this one has not aged terribly, considering that you'd think it would with the prevalence of racial slurs that are used. But again, every time it is done, the punchline is always at the expense of the person who's being racist. So it works so much better than it otherwise would.
Brooks just makes so much more of an effort for his comedy to never actually bring down people who don't deserve it.
That's almost as if a Jewish person who was alive during World War II might know a thing or two about how it's important to be somewhat sensitive about that.
Yeah, it's also interesting to look at it, because the biggest yikeses in this movie are probably... Well, I've seen people point out that the way he represents, like, the Chinese railroad workers isn't super great either, because it's really just that one guy who collapses and then it's give Doc that racial slur a day's pay. I'm not going to say any of the racial slurs. It just makes me feel icky. But anyway, there's that. And then there's the whole scene of the Sioux Nation in the flashback attacking Bart's family's wagon train. And there are parts of it that are very prescient and funny, namely the "they're darker than us" joke that kind of alludes to Black Native solidarity. But the Sioux leader is played by Mel Brooks in Redface.
It kind of reminds me of this movie I covered for Ellie's podcast, Cat Ballou.
Yes, which I feel like this movie is parodying the most, I feel.
Do you want to know how you can give it the most possible rope you could ever imagine?
Do tell.
Sure.
In ye olden times, when we first got to the Americas and they realized that people were on the big islands, they didn't know how they got there. So a theory from like the 15th century until like the 17th century,
I know where you're going
were
with
that the natives people were one of the 10 lost tribes of Israel. And so having the Sioux Nation guys speak Yiddish is a stealthy reference to how they were descended from the people who fled.
Joseph Smith's Ghost When I Find You.
Fucking Mormons.
My God. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I was prepared to be unbelievably perturbed by the casting choice of Mel Brooks in the role, by him casting himself there. And yeah, I still have to wag the finger at the red face, but on the other hand, they're not even speaking Sioux, they're speaking Yiddish. So... yeah, the fact that they're doing that, it really does feel like it's one of those kinds of things. Yeah, and I would probably not put that joke in there these days if we did something like that, by any means. For one, why don't we cast actual Indigenous actors? But on the other hand, it's not a terrible punchline either.
And, like, in Cat Ballou, there's kind of something similar in that they do have the one Indigenous character. He is not remotely a stereotype, and he actually calls out Cat Ballou's father stereotyping him. But he's played by a man in redface, so it does kind of weaken it, which is a shame because he is such a great character. And if he had been played by an Indigenous actor, he'd be well ahead of his time.
Oh, yeah. It's the same thing with the Lawrence of Arabia, if you've ever seen that movie. It does a really good job humanizing the Arab people as victims of circumstance. It's just a pity that said Arabs are represented by actors like Anthony Quinn and Sir Alec Guinness in brownface and wearing fake beards.
One can make a lesser argument for West Side Story, the original one, too.
Hey, fair enough. I've heard the stories from Rita Moreno. But getting back on track, I do love that you mentioned Cat Ballou, because I've seen that one before, and I couldn't stop myself from thinking, in particular, this movie was reminding me of Cat Ballou with the very lighthearted, semi-diegetic musical numbers that have a very parlory feel to them. That whole, old-timey equals timeless fallacy going on over here. And there's also, like, a shameless silliness to the film that doesn't even necessarily feel like it's always a byproduct of the fact that this is a a parody of Westerns as much as, no, many more serious Westerns would have stuff like this in there too. We're just cranking the silliness up to 11. Like, it's not often in a regular Western someone would be dragged through the mud in a nice outfit and you'd get an ADR of them saying, well, that's the end of this suit.
But also, I will say the songs in this one felt a little less like they were being written as they went along.
Oh, yeah, this felt a lot more carefully planned. I mean, the titular song that plays over the opening credits is a genuinely excellent Western-themed song. Frankie Lane sings it so well. It sounds like a very sincere hype-up song about a great hero of the West, and it ends up actually kind of making sense.
And from what I hear, Mel Brooks did not tell the composer that this was a comedy, because he wanted him to be going for that level of sincerity, and mission accomplished, sir.
Oh, I love that.
So when Mel Brooks was looking for the person to sing this, he requested a Frankie Lane type. And what's more Frankie Lane type than Frankie Lane? And Mel made sure he never heard the whip cracks, he didn't tell him that it was a spoof, and therefore got the serious interpretation of the song.
Like, it's so beautiful. It's such a great song. Like, genuinely, it's such a fun song. Like, and it wasn't out of keeping at the time period for prominent singer-songwriters at the time to be making songs like this as well. And I feel like that really, really helps. Like, just moment where I'm music nerd for a second. Some of my favorite times of comedy scoring, some of my favorite instances of comedy scoring out there are the kinds where the composer isn't thinking about it like it's a comedy. They're thinking of it more like it's something dramatic, and the comedy comes from how seriously the music is approaching the story when paired with what's on screen. Like, I love it when composers do that for comedies.
That was basically Gilbert and Sullivan's entire modus operandi.
So I love their stuff too. How can you not love such a wonderfully pompous and stiff militaristic song like When the Foreman Bears His Steel, and yet you still have the most predominant lyric being Tarantara, Tarantara.
So, moving back into Blazing Saddles, like, God, so many fun jokes. Like, everybody in Rockridge having the last name Johnson. Like, when you're a kid, it's funny, and then it's like, hang on, what kind of scenario are we looking at here?
That you know the euphemisms, and also that.
Yeah.
It's feeling a bit Habsburg over here right now in Rockridge.
Oh, yeah.
And they were being a bunch of Johnsons to the sheriff when he showed up.
Hey!
Oh yeah, Benny Johnsons apparently already existed in whatever time period this is. Apparently refrigeration technology happened way sooner than we all thought, because there's just an ice cream parlor in this town.
Yet another uncredited invention.
Ice cream parlors?
Yeah, like with the Candygram.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, ice cream was very much an elitist snack up until, like, the early 20th century, so the fact that there's just an ice cream parlor in this frontier town, I didn't even notice that gag until I rewatched it for this, because of course that would have hit a lot harder in 1974 when there were probably people still alive who remember when the first ice cream parlors even became a thing.
This is twice now this year I've failed to fight down the urge to mention that I am descended of the inventor of the ice cream cone.
Yep.
That happened around like the early 1900s. I hate saying the early 1900s because that's 100 fucking years. That is a big stretch of time. Anyway.
We're from the late 1900s, a lot of us, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all.
Getting close to the end for me, but still, 1995. But yeah, it's amusing where the anachronisms show up sometimes, because I love how they just lean in so hard with the absurdity with a few of them. I still can't get past the fact that nobody thinks to just go around the toll booth that was just built up for that. It's like, anybody got a dime?
They're also using a medieval executioner for their executions.
They sure are.
They hung the horse.
He's equal opportunity. Everyone is equal in his eye.
Equally ready to die.
Oh, no, speaking of the horse, not the one that's being executed, the horse that Mongo punches out. In case anybody doesn't already know, those of you who watched the two screenings, I already said this, but now for the rest of you, the part where Mongo punches out the horse and knocks it out is based on something that Sid Caesar did when he and Mel had been out drinking. And a policeman on a horse rides up to hassle him because Sid's being obnoxious because he's drunk, and Caesar just knocks his horse the F out.
God damn.
So I absolutely love Alex Karras in the role of Mongo. He is incredibly good, especially considering that he was originally a football player, and yet he puts such poignancy into Mongo only pawn in Great Game of Life.
And aren't we all, man? Aren't we all?
Big
Truly.
mood Mongo. But hearing the story, I was like, God, that feels like hearing Carrie Elwes talk about going out drinking with Andre the Giant, and then I sat there going, Andre the Giant is Mongo.
Oh, yeah, he could have done it. He definitely could have done it. But could he have done Alex Kara's role in Victor Victoria? I don't know.
Mongo only pawn in Game of Life. Anybody want a peanut?
I like how when they captured Mongo with the candygram, when you see him next in the prison cell, they've like crucified him. It's like the only way they could figure out how to like tie him up, and then he wakes up and he just sort of like flexes out of the chains.
Not until they tell him he's free to go, though.
It's also more proof of my Bart and Jim are boyfriends agenda, because Bart's like, oh, I think Mongo likes you, but there's the subtext of, I let you have a girlfriend as well, but we're not bringing in another boyfriend.
That's where I draw the line. I'm sorry,
And
Dave.
also, Mongo's like, don't worry, Mongo's straight.
Mongo complimented. Mongo not swing that way.
Jim is very much rolling with this is my boyfriend Bart, and this is Bart's girlfriend Lily.
Listen, her last name's Von Stupp. What were they supposed to do?
Oh, Mel, we love you.
Something I do appreciate about Mel casting himself is his tendency to cast himself as a character who is a complete dipshit. Like his few scenes as the governor is just this completely fucking useless bureaucrat
Who doesn't even know how to play paddleball.
Useless politicians. That's the one thing that definitely
Absolutely,
didn't age
he knows
poorly,
how to play
unfortunately.
paddleball. They just keep giving him a busted one. It's not his fault. Don't you know? He's going to get a cabinet post. He's going to be, dare I say it?
Also, apparently he is...
I set all of you up for a dare, and none of you said it. You're all dead to
I'm
me.
sorry. We failed you.
Oh, man. I mean, I appreciate in particular how Mel Brooks gets one of the best examples of dodging the use of a slur jokes in this movie, where he's shown Bart for the first time, and he's like, come here, without even looking at either of them, and Bart's the one who goes to them, and the way he turns right before it sounds like he's about to say the slur, and there is, oh, sorry, wrong person. And then says to Harvey Korman, can't you see this man's a nit? That was a great payoff of not, you think he's going to say something really nasty, and then it turns out, oh no, he never was going to the whole time, but still he was talking to the wrong person.
The person he was talking about, though, so it still does kind of make sense, even if it's very silly.
It is a shame that Harvey Korman didn't get his supporting actor nomination.
It might have happened if it hadn't been for the whole lawsuit thing. For context, the actual Hedy Lamarr, inventor of Wi-Fi and movie star in her own right, sued Warner Brothers for $100,000 in 70s money, which is about $650,000 in today money.
God.
Because she argued that the parody of her name infringed on her right to privacy. And Mel Brooks decided that he was flattered by this. He chose not to fight it in court. They settled outside of court and issued an apology for almost using her name. But Brooks was like, I don't think she ever got the joke. And then he put the joke about, don't worry, you'll be able to sue her into the script.
And then the actual payoff for naming him that at the very end when he's walking into the theater and they're talking about Hedy Lamarr and he corrects them.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, I'm kind of impressed at how many Hollywood references are in here that even though they're very of-the-time references that don't quite land as much anymore over half a century later, they're still funny as hell in execution even if you don't know the context. Even just something as simple as they make fun of the treasure of Sierra Madre at one point while they're recruiting bad guys. Here's your badge. I don't need no stinking badges. It's like, oh, I understood that reference, but that's because I've seen enough older movies to know what that was.
And they did things like put in a little musical sting of Springtime for Hitler.
Yeah, when the SS guys, because there are SS people in this recruitment lineup in wherever late 19th century setting this is.
Every type of bad guy from history you could think of.
Is it really a Mel Brooks movie if he doesn't throw in at least one pot shot at the Nazis?
I don't
Fair
think
enough.
so. No.
I feel like he has a right to do so.
I'm just surprised they never got around to showing the bunker scene.
They saved that for History of the World Part 2.
True. No, instead we have at the back of the line 2 Klansmen with "Have a nice day" printed on the back.
Tarantino could fucking never.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah. And the fact that both Bart and Jim use their wits to get them to come back in like the most cliche way possible to offend those types of folks, that was so good.
Hey, where are the white women at?
And led to one of my favorite Lou Wilson Dimension 20 adventuring party bits. Shout out to Never After!
Hey, Pinocchio, where are the white women at?
Papa, I've been looking.
I hope you find them, Pinocchio. I hope you find where they're at.
And now, for my next impression, Jesse Owens.
Also a subtle fuck you to Hitler.
True that. This film is so loaded with delightful points and jokes and punchlines and everything. Even just the running gag of the priest being over the top even by priest standards. I don't know how that didn't get old for me fast, and I think a big part of it is that often the punchline is everyone else is already tired of him being so preachy all the time.
But every so often he pulls it down to subtlety, like his son, you're on your own. Remarkably restrained, and all the more effective for it.
Oh yeah, and that same actor will be in Mel Brooks's next movie, Young Frankenstein, as Mr. Hilltop, so... It's just fun knowing that directors are fine with working with people multiple times, because if anything, it also shows, oh, those actors like this director and they're willing to work with him multiple times as well. It's fun.
The big one here is Dom DeLuise. Honestly, I always forget Dom DeLuise is in this movie, even though he's like a Mel Brooks staple, right up until the French mistake happens, because it doesn't matter how many times I see this movie, the French mistake never fails to jump scare me.
It just comes the fuck out of nowhere. It's crazy.
It's a very long, belabored setup for the cast of Blazing Saddles literally breaking the fourth wall into the next soundstage.
Which, I mean, your final battle could never.
I really like it. It would cost a company millions. It would cost people would lampoon it forever. But I desperately need a serious movie to end like this at some point in my life. I need to be watching something, be really engrossed in what's happening, and then the walls come down, and the artifice of what's happening is just like go. The next MCU movie. Let's have the next Star Wars movie end with them breaking into the Disney lot. Let's go hang out with Mickey. Let's just completely break down the walls.
Just have the final climax take place at Disney World.
I'm also kind of impressed that Mel Brooks manages to make jokes that, I mean, yeah, they're kind of homophobic, but they don't come across as coming from a place of malice towards queer people either. Because also, just the way that those dancers behave was so cute. I just couldn't help
you vicious brute!
And then just start sobbing in a comforting position in that big guy's arms and chest. It's like, aw. You just need to let it out. I get it.
My favorite are the two that are fighting, and they go behind the stairs, and it keeps panning, and they go from behind the stairs, and they're just sort of like talking. It's like they think they're off. They think they're off the set. They're like they're going back to normal. They're just kind of like, hey, like, you know what? Let's go get one.
It's like, even if it's perhaps a bit dated, I was surprised to discover that it was still charming, because, again, it didn't feel like laugh at gay people for being the way they are, as much as laugh at people for not being open to this kind of stuff, is what it felt more like to me. And it's just like, for 1974, that actually is pretty progressive when it comes to queer rep.
It feels like when friends take pot shots at each other, like, yes, you are being very silly, but I love you.
Exactly.
It happens enough in Mel Brooks' movie. Like, I don't know if it's like a thing that he personally finds funny, which is probably the case, but so many of his movies at some point have a fourth wall break, or just like the movie stops. It's like they write themselves and they're not really sure what to do. And so they write a scene about them figuring out what the scene they're supposed to do is, and then the movie continues.
It's the equivalent of how a lot of Muppet sketches will end with something blowing up, or someone getting eaten, or throwing penguins in the air, as our dear Reverend would put it.
Yeah, you were saying, like, I want another movie to end with just brief interruption, and all I can think is Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and everybody gets arrested.
Or one of the skits going, righto, silly, 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 get on with it.
Yeah, that the fourth wall breaks in a lot of those types of movies. Again, really impressed that they don't get old for me. But then again, I was raised on a lot of this stuff, so maybe I'm biased.
This one's definitely the longest of his fourth wall breaks, too, because, in Spaceballs, they just read the script. In Men in Tights, he just sort of gets upset that he's losing the match, and he's, reading forward in the script.
Yeah, in Men in Tights, they read the script. I honestly think the Spaceballs joke is funnier because they go all the way through getting all the videos out, and they... now! We're looking at now! And also, go past this! Go past this! In fact, never play this again! God, I love Spaceballs. I can't wait until we talk about it.
And in this one, it gets to the point where even though they're in production of the movie that they're in, Headley goes to the theater that's showing Blazing Saddles to continue watching Blazing Saddles to realize that Bart is still outside hunting him.
Oh yeah, that was delightful. The fact that even while we are in the Grauman's theater, we're still playing the movie out.
And even then, they're still playing it completely straight with the, oops, I just remembered, I am armed. That's some classic diabolical Western villain shit, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. And then immediately gets shot in the groin as his ultimate death.
Only the second worst thing to happen to his groin during this movie.
True.
But does...
Serves him right, though.
A lot of Three Stooges core humor, quite frankly, in this. Again, I just can't stop myself from thinking about one of those early jokes with Taggart getting clonked in the head by a shovel. And the timing of, and tell him that I said, ow, before passing out.
It does also raise the question of how did Douglas Fairbanks do all those stunts with such tiny feet?
Magic.
Cocaine?
As is my typical running gag in these sorts of podcasts, this movie came out in 1974, and so that's about, 52 years ago? We are further away from this movie coming out than this movie was from the majority of Douglas Fairbanks' filmography, which was the majority of the 20s.
Gee, thanks. Thanks a lot.
So this means that a lot of Douglas Fairbanks starring vehicles are in the public domain, so we should start adapting some of those. But anyway...
Thank you, Leaf. Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, I mean, again, just so many shout-outs to big-name Hollywood stars from well past the time period this setting seemingly seems to be. It's just, again, the Randolph Scott one just still gets me because of the way it just pauses for an amen, except it's Randolph Scott instead of amen.
Honestly, kind of shocking that Mel did not have a place for this in this movie for his wife. Because he had a place in this movie for Dom DeLuise's wife. Harriet Johnson, the school teacher, is Dom DeLuise's wife, Carol Arthur. But just to double check, does everybody know who Mel Brooks was married to at the time?
It was Anne Bancroft,
I don't think I do.
Academy Award winner Anne Bancroft.
Oh.
She does show up in some of his later movies. She is in To Be or Not to Be with Him. She is in Dracula Dead and Loving It as the old peasant woman who's kind of a Romani stereotype going, beware, and jostling her jowls.
And in fairness, it is parodying shit that is in Dracula from the very beginning.
Yep.
But honestly, I would have loved to have seen her cameo in this. Maybe playing Miss Stein. I don't know.
I do appreciate how Brooks manages to work in a second cameo, because he's not just the idiot governor. I'm given to understand he dubs one of the backing vocalists in I'm Tired.
Yep, and he's also amongst Headley's recruits for the villains to go raiding through Rockridge. There's somebody who's meant to parody Howard Hughes, the Aviator, and that is also Mel Brooks.
My goodness, Mel.
Fucking funny, but it would have also been a PTSD flashback for you, Sam.
Okay, the Aviator didn't traumatize me. It's not frickin' Green Book.
That is fair.
Yeah, fair enough. How is this movie aged so much better than Green Book already, despite being over half a century old?
Because this movie isn't concerned with sucking a patriarch's dick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, instead we just get a genuine story about how friendship can overcome things, but also how, at the end of the day, when people have a prejudice, they will let go of it only when it suddenly becomes convenient. So it's a bit Rudolph that way as well.
We did make a huge joke when the first time we were watching the screening and they had the railroad workers show up. It's like, everybody gets involved, and then the Johnsons all go, but we don't want the Irish. And we started making jokes of like, and that's when Remick started heading towards Mississippi. And you didn't hear them go, prairie shit, everybody. And we're like, wait, no, Remick, come back. Oh God, he has AirPods in. He can't hear us.
I do like that scene where they're discussing about what they want to do, and the frontiersman speaking the proper American dialect of incomprehensible frontier gibberish speaks as it just like, I'm glad that we were here to hear this. I'm glad that children were here to hear this.
Oh, man. Another character who also gets a great dodging actually uttering a racial slur gag.
Having the one who is totally incomprehensible be the one who goes up and is the first one to see the sheriff, and then using the bell to censor him anyway, that's fucking funny.
Right? What did he say? He said the sheriff is near!
No, dadgummit!
And that's what should be done with anyone trying to say a slur.
That was so well timed.
With hate in their heart.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird seeing Mel Brooks movies in other movies, but that scene will always be tainted to me, if only because it was the scene that they show in that Reign Over Me movie. Remember that? It's this Adam Sandler.
Oh God, the Adam Sandler 9/11 movie.
Yeah. It's the scene. That's the scene in that they show in Reign Over Me when they're showing that they're watching films together.
Boy, oh boy.
Do you ever like just see a comedian tying themselves to far superior comedians, and you're like, dude.
Oh yeah. Everyone points out, if anyone has ever seen Son of the Mask, they always point out to, man, they gotta watch the One Froggy Evening short to even have halfway towards decent jokes. They have to rely on that.
Well, to be fair to Reign Over Me, that is the kind of movie that was, for whatever reason, obsessed with showing other stuff within it, like the extended bits where they show him playing Shadow of the Colossus for some reason.
Well, that's just because there's product placements galore in a lot of those starring vehicles of his, let's be honest.
I'm growing increasingly relieved that I have never seen this movie, and please nobody make me see this movie, please.
Oh, Sam.
It must be somewhere on the constellation.
We'll try our best. It's a lot more fun discussing stuff where you like things, after all.
Well, before he dies, he'll be in a Star Wars movie. There'll be...
Jeez.
Justin, if you have learned nothing from the Inator, you need to know there is probably already somebody who has been in a Star Wars movie from that movie. And if not, then there's someone in that movie who has worked on a Star Wars. Or there is someone who worked on that movie who knows someone who worked on that movie. Because
it surrounds us,
Star
it binds
Wars.
us, it penetrates us.
Everything
is Star Wars, always and forever. That's the whole point of all this.
Everything is Star Wars, and yet the impish desire within me to see a Happy Madison Star Wars film.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so, Justin, I'm just gonna go and get you a candygram real quick.
Hell yeah.
But in the meantime, I appreciate that, again, we get that whole setup of we don't even really get, actually, a romance, really, with Madeline Kahn and Cleavon Little in this. It's more like she was just so wowed by him that she stands up for him when the time comes, when Headley is wondering, why hasn't our plan worked?
I don't think they ever clarified how she gets freed, because the last time we see her, she's tied up in her dressing room, and then suddenly she's in, like, her full Marlena Dietrich, honestly kind of hot butch outfit, and we're not sure how she rejoins the city of Rockridge, but she did, and she helps them build the fake Rockridge so that the raiders can destroy that instead of the real Rockridge. But they'll think that they're destroying the real Rockridge when actually it's the fake Rockridge.
Such an absurd conceit, and it was still, I was so happy to see that again. Like, it's so stupid. But it's so
It was
great.
great. It was so great.
And it's also the ending of High Plains Drifter.
And the fact that they buy time, again, they put a toll booth in their way to buy time to put up the finishing touches. And nobody thinks, we could just ride our horses around this toll booth.
And break the law?
They
It's
are
just
technically
funnier.
acting under the orders of the governor, and let's remember, their boss gave everybody shit for chewing gum and not bringing enough for everyone.
Well, he didn't know how many would be there.
It's really like that time when the Joker gave up one of his plans because somebody pointed out that if he did this, it was going to be tax evasion, and you don't mess with the IRS.
Hey, that's how they finally got Al Capone, so...
Mm-hmm. Now, if only the IRS would still have that energy today.
Right? Tax the churches. Anyway.
Tax the corporations! Tax the rich!
We can also thank von Strom for relying on German solidarity to hold up the Nazis who were there.
Mm-hmm.
We see a shot of her singing with them around a fire.
Yeah, I think that was a direct Dietrich reference, though I'm not sure what the full details of it were. It's just such a funny little thing to see them all going, yeah, 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 in the middle of all the chaos.
I mean, my personal favorite musical gag really was just how quickly she runs out of breath during her big song in the verse section before leading into the proper song.
Well, she's tired.
Also, that corset does look laced rather tight.
Yeah, so no wonder she's having a tough time hanging on to the notes.
But also, it's fucking funny.
As a feminist, I'm horrified. As a sapphic, I'm delighted.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, for some reason, maybe it is just as a byproduct of professionally singing, but I always love gags that involve someone running out of breath and having to continue with the phrase because it's still not over. Even if it's a blooper from a movie where I see that sort of thing happening, I'm just like, I love this, because it's one of my worst fears as a performer, that happening to me at some point, because sometimes it does.
Okay, I think we're coming to the end of this, so I want to end on a very, very nice note. Apparently, Slim Pickens, who played Taggart, was very uncomfortable with how many times he had to say the N-word to Cleveland Little, and Cleveland Little not only took him aside, it's like, I know these aren't your words. If you said this to me in real life, it'd be Fist City, but here, it's all right. Slim Pickens still offered to buy him a drink every time he said the word, and do you know what ended up happening?
What happened?
They added about 3 extra pages worth of the word.
Oh, that's a lot of drinks.
Well played, well played.
And that was deliberate. Like, Cleveland Little was like, can you put 3 extra pages into the script to but that's good energy to have there.
That is so cheeky. Oh my god.
So he was just like that.
Maybe Cleveland Little was Bugs Bunny IRL as well.
I get free drinks from co-stars.
Yeah, no, Mr. Pickens, you really said reparations.
Yeah, good on him, honestly. Truly, good on him.
The real question is if ACAB includes Bart.
He doesn't seem to stay a cop.
His work here was indeed done.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, he kind of goes from being cop to being vigilante. I mean, part of the whole thing about ACAB is that it's talking about cops as an institution of systemic violence, occupying army, etc., etc. Hi, Brennan Lee Mulligan.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like black people are immune from being poisoned by that whole institution if they join it, of course, but yeah, I don't think that's what we're getting from Bart in this movie, for instance.
I mean, in this setting, he is still very much being set up as a target of the government.
So I would say no, soft no on Bart, but definitely yes on everybody who was using Bart.
There you go. I think that's a good workaround.
We can definitely say, so an attorney general is a prosecutor, and a prosecutor is a cop, and Hedley Lamar is an attorney general. Therefore, definite ACAB there.
Yes.
I don't care that Daddy loves Froggy. Daddy's a bastard.
But he's an equal opportunity employer. It even said so on his sign.
Irony!
Ribbit. Like, the fact that they got Harvey Korman to do that, like, my goodness, Val, like, how did you convince Harvey Korman to do that?
Harvey Korman was down to clown with a whole lot of shit. We're still 4 years removed from whip.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, no, I don't think this was a man with a lot of shame.
Probably not, honestly. I mean, he was one of the first celebrities to say, yeah, I'll show up for little pay to be on this puppet-led variety show that you guys are doing.
Muppets.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the foreshadowing was there all along. He loves Froggy. So naturally, he was perfectly fine with working with Kermit later.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
I've connected the dots. You didn't connect shit. Oh, poor Harvey. He was never gonna get the Best Supporting Actor role. He was up against 3 people from The Godfather Part 2, plus Fred Astaire and Jeff Bridges.
Oh, yeah, no, there was no hope.
I keep forgetting that Fred Astaire's only Oscar nom was for The Towering Inferno. That's so funny to me for some reason.
Anything more to add?
I think our work here is done.
I think this is what Willy Wonka went off to do after he retired and gave his gave his factory to Charlie.
Here, kid, have fun with all the OSHA lawsuits. Bye!
I'm gonna go run off with my Western boyfriend.
He became a gunslinger so good he barely even had to raise a gun to disarm an entire group of people pointing their guns at him.
And that's called being an ally. Honestly, this is one of those things where the episode is just us gushing about the movie and not really explaining the movie, because this is a movie you really should experience for yourself. I can't stress enough how much frickin' fun it is. Don't let the whole conservatives, oh, you could never make this movie today, people are too PC, people are too sensitive. No, you're too sensitive, conservatives, because you don't get that you're the joke. You're the one the movie's laughing at. You're the bad guy.
It's also a Mel Brooks movie, so it's not really a plot so much as like a way to communicate jokes leading into other ways to set up and pay off jokes. So it's not really a thinker. It's not really intricate plot wise.
Just let it happen.
Exactly. And also, if you couldn't make a movie like this today, explain Taika Waititi making Jojo Rabbit.
That's for another day.
They both have Hitler.
Without getting into too much detail, I feel that Taika Waititi's Jojo Rabbit has far more to do with Mel Brooks's The Producers than Blazing Saddles, but that is very, very much for another day. So I'll just finish by saying, fuck you, Quentin Tarantino. This is always going to be better than Django Unchained.
Without a doubt.
Oh, for sure.
Then I think the time has come to ask, is the Force with it?
You're darn tootin' it is.
Harumph.
I would say very much the Force is with this one, because it reminds us that there is nothing these days about the importance of allyship and representation.
Always, no matter what your point of view.
Roarin'! Justin Frankly Johnson is right about Grady Johnson being right about Leaf Johnson being right about Jasmine Johnson being right. The Force is with it!
Yay!
Love it when it's unanimous.
Even if that does mean that we're technically all dealing in absolutes.
We're still gonna ride off into the sunset.
Indeed. Who has Pluggables?
Well, wherever pods are cast, not only do you hear my voice in way better quality than this, audio-wise, but it is where I host a podcast called The Disney Outlands, where we discuss the feature films, short films, episodes, and specials that the Disney company has produced, but for whatever reason at the time we record those episodes are not available to stream on their major streaming services. In addition to podcasting, I also sing professionally. I've mentioned that, and you can find little bits of evidence of that on Instagram at Leaf Bradshaw Sings. I'm also an aspiring voice actor, and you can find me on Casting Call Club there for anything where you think I might come in handy as a voice actor for hire.
I am the host of In Each Retelling, the podcast where we explore all the ways old tales are made new. We've been on a bit of an accidental hiatus due to technical issues and just schedule implosion, but we're still getting back on track, and hopefully Pride Month selections shall be happening soon. And find me at Favorite Vieira on all the socials.
My plug for this week is plugging the Black Sheriff, and oh my god, he's being held hostage. Someone stop this poor man.
Will someone help this poor man?
Quiet, that's the sort of thing that'll get him killed, you fool!
And I'm Snakebit Cat on most of the socials.
And in the spirit of Star Wars, to be there for the people who need us, this episode is spotlighting the Marsha P. Johnson Institute and their Pay It campaign, dedicated to the care and protection of Black trans people. Happy Pride, y'all! The link can be found in the description, as well as on my various socials at Demisem. Our theme music is provided by Refractory Period, the 2 girls, 1 beat synth pop sensation. You can follow them on Instagram at Refractory Period the band. To further support this podcast, please subscribe to us on your platform of choice, leave reviews, and share with your friends to boost our visibility, and consider joining Patreon. We are also going to take this moment to note that Blazing Saddles, being owned by Warner Brothers, is part of a library of content that stands to be acquired by Paramount in the merger that was just approved by the U.S. Department of Justice, and it's worth seeing if your state is among those considering a lawsuit to stop the merger from going through. Get some of that trust-busting action going. And now, it's time to turn to the Chance Cube to see where our journey takes us next.
It's a 6.
Jazz, you're gonna be happy about this. For our Pride episode, we're gonna do Dracula's Daughter.
Yes!
We'll see you all next time. Until then, stay safe, stay strong, stay beautiful, and may the Schwartz be with you!